Welcome to the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports news and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the best co-host anyone can ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all from NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. So let's do this. Here's Sonny Clark.
All right, everybody, welcome into a special edition of the Couch Potato Sports Show here on Monday afternoon. Hope everybody had a great day. I mean, this is Monday. Got to try to just get through the day. Guys, great show coming up here in about 10 minutes. We're going to bring on the impeccable Tom McManus, guys. And if you know anything about this show, we don't bring in a lot of guests because we don't want a lot of BS. And the one guy that we can depend on not to give us a bunch of BS is Tom McManus. Now, guys, it is just something that I have done over the years. We used to bring guest after guest after guest after guest into the show. But I don't know about you, but I got sick and tired of the same old, that old political correct answer, and it drove me incredibly insane. So we just stopped doing it, except for this guy. And on our close to our 13th year anniversary, guys, that's number one. I mean, 13 years we've been doing this. He has been on probably about 13 times. We probably call on him once a year, or if something big happens in the Jacksonville area or for the Jaguars, we'll bring him in to talk about it. And there's big news in Jacksonville as a head coach has been hired. So we're going to talk about that. Doug Peterson, the new head coach in Jacksonville. As you see, I got my Jacksonville Jaguar jersey on. This is one day I actually feel proud to be a Jaguar fan. And guys, let me tell you something. It's been a long time that I could actually sit down here and say, I am proud to be a Jaguar fan. And it does start with the top. Now, we can talk about all the bad things that have been going on in Jacksonville for the years and years and years. But guys, interesting look at this team coming from a guy who played for the team, former Jacksonville Jaguar linebacker, and bring him in and talk about this. And I will tell you, I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about 2020. But there's also a lot of things going on in the Jacksonville area about who might have got that job, who was trying to get the job, and would have it been a good fit in reality in Jacksonville. We'll talk about that and other things. Now, obviously, things going on in the NFL. I'm going to cut to that until we get Tom in. We'll get him in at 10 after the hour. But in Arizona, some big news popped up this morning as I was getting ready to go to get to work and everything. I was actually at work when it happened, and I read about in Arizona, where I'm headed here not more than 3 days, the Arizona Cardinals quarterback, Kyler Murray, has pretty much wiped out everything regarding his social media and the Arizona Cardinals. And what does that mean? Big story out of Arizona, and I'll tell you the reason why. When guys do this, there's a problem. And I don't know if he's dissatisfied with what's going on in Arizona. I don't know if he wants to go play baseball, because if you remember, he's got a Major League Baseball contract sitting in front of him for him to go to as soon as he decides he wants to. So what is going on in Arizona? And this really shakes the foundation of the Arizona Cardinals as they move into the 2020 season, because right now the quarterback is up in the air. What does that mean for Cliff Kingsbury? moving forward if they don't have a Kyler Murray on that football team. What is going on? What's going on behind the scenes? I don't know. But the Arizona Cardinals, in reality, and we were talking to the eagle-eyed Bill Cerna yesterday, and we were talking about, was this the right move for the Arizona Cardinals? Now, his feeling is yes, but now with what's going on now, this could change the whole landscape over in Arizona, whether it be no quarterback, whether it be no Cliff Kingsbury, or both. None there, and maybe another coaching job might have opened up. Who knows? And I will tell you, you never know what's being done behind the scenes, because they can sit there and say everything is fine, and they could be talking to coaches under the scrutiny of, listen, if this gets out, it's because you let it out. Don't tell anybody about this, and we'll go from there. So the Arizona Cardinals are an interesting situation, because when you look at the NFC West, this is a division with 4 football teams that are not just 4 football teams. There are 4 good football teams if you consider the Seattle Seahawks a good football team. And I think you can, considering that Russell Wilson is there, as far as long as you have a Russell Wilson on your football team, you got a shot at what you're going to do, whether it be football or whatever the case may be. So where that works is interesting. All right, so just to give you also a quick update, just got a message from Cuervo. Hopefully he will be here for this interview. He is still at work. This is the only time we could get Tom McManus as well. So if I have to fly solo, we'll fly solo with this and Tom McManus. But back to Arizona. Arizona, in that division of football, is in a very bad place. Because without Kyler Murray, you take away a playmaker at the quarterback position. Now, notice how I said you're not taking away a quarterback. You're taking away a playmaker. This guy's more of a playmaker per se, at least in my personal opinion, than a quarterback. You get the athletic ability of what he can do on a scramble. You got that whether he's going to run it or not, or go ahead and scramble and someone get open down the field. Well, with the offensive firepower that they have, that also being in the wide receiver position, you have a pretty big superstar that you pretty much got and stole away from the Houston Texans. So what is the Cardinals' future? That is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting also because of the fact that you have an opportunity to do something to make your team better. You do everything, and now you have the guy that you're depending on might be saying adios. Arizona Cardinals, now they've got to figure this out. If they're going to keep Kyler Murray, what do they got to do to keep him happy? And I don't know. There's the information from Cuervo. Hopefully, we could get him in and get him with an opportunity with Tom McManus. So we got that going on in the NFL. Some other things going on in the NFL. We kind of touched on it yesterday. Well, not kind of. The Brian Flores situation is becoming a big-time story. It's also a story that doesn't seem to want to be going away. It's a story that is opening up Pandora's box. It's not just about what are going on with the African-American coaches going on. Now you got the gambling going on and things of that sort. We've got to look out for that. This should be an interesting situation going on with that. And where does Brian Flores fit in the chance of being a head coach? Well, the Houston Texans have made their decision, as they are going to go with former Bears head coach, Tampa Bay Buccaneer head coach, Lovie Smith. So a lot of this, there was speculation before this lawsuit was filed by Brian Flores that he could be going there. Well, there was speculation he could be going in a lot of things. But what he has decided to do with this lawsuit has put him in this situation where I thought he might be the right person there in Houston if they were able to bring in some talent instead of just throwing them to the wolves. The same situation that he had over in Miami. As you have crummy owners, which is pretty much what's going on there. The talent isn't all there. That's another problem there. And then that whole situation, will he be able to win games? So basically, it was a setup for failure, at least in what I was looking at, as far as if they were going to do that. And I will tell you, I love me some Lovie Smith, right? I mean, this guy, head coach for the Bears and everything else. You can't really fault the Houston Texans for going that route. So that being said, of course, that's the name of the show on Sunday. Make sure you catch us over there on Sundays. Hold on one second. All right, so I almost had a coughing jack. I'm going to go ahead and bring on the guy, all right, that we advertise. Let's go ahead and let's do this. Friend of the show, mad love for this guy. My favorite Jacksonville Jaguar, and he's going to love this. Look at this. I mean, I'm going old school Jaguar jerseys right here. Let's bring him on in. It is Tom McManus. Good to see you, my friend. And I got him frozen. Uh-oh. I got Tom McManus frozen. So I want, okay, so there he is. Now I got him. Good to see you.
How are you, Sonny? Been a long time, man.
Hey, but long time last year, moving into our 13th year. And you know what? I went back into the archives. 13 years. One of my first guests that were on my show because you were my favorite Jaguar. And I mean, look at this. Old school Jaguar.
That's old school, baby.
Yeah.
I love it. Hell yeah, man. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfect. You're
Great.
fantastic.
Great.
And so, going back and you doing what you're doing, now you told me about the Relevant app. I'm going to check this out because it's really interesting. Talk a little bit about what you're doing as far as the Relevant app is concerned and what you're doing with some of the old Jaguars that you played with.
Yeah, so I got brought on about a year and a few months ago. Just first started off at being a host on just hosting my show on their platform. And then once I was introduced to it, I was like, oh, man, this is a no-brainer. It's so easy to use. You can literally, sit in a room, drop your phone down, put the mic on your channel, and you're live to your audience. There's no setup. There's no equipment. There's no anything. We call it a pocket podcast. So you can literally pull it out of your back pocket, your phone out of your back pocket, your tablet, and do a podcast right then and there. So what I've been doing, I since been brought on as business development. I'm bringing in former players that have joined me on different channels on the app. I've got Randy Cross and Ryan Sakamoto. I don't know if you know Ryan. He's from the Pro Football Writers Association.
Yep.
They do a 49ers thing every week where they look at the game, state of the team, look at the game that just was, and then preview the upcoming game. And then on game day, they do pregame show and then check in at halftime. So Glenn Parker does the Bills. Randy Cross does the 49ers. I do the Jaguars. We're bringing in more guys. Sean Salisbury's come on board. He does a Thursday night show with us that we call In the Huddle. And it's just us 5 guys together previewing the upcoming games, just talking about the NFL. So it's been fun. We're just starting to really take off and grow and catch some fire. But man, there's so many opportunities. So even a Houston Texans vibe channel, you can go there, you can become a member, and you can listen to different podcasts. There's an AFC South battle podcast, fan battle podcast. It's just joining this week, and there'll be more to come. So yeah, I'd love for you to be a part of it. It's so I'm on my phone now. This is how I do the Relevant. It's all audio right now, but on Relevant, but very similar. Just taking it from your phone and taking it wherever you get a good signal.
Now, talk. When you're talking about your shows and stuff, when the history.
Can we drink on this show?
Say again?
Can we drink on the show?
Drink it up. Hey, I want to talk a little bit about one of the former guys that you used to play with, Tony Baselli.
Yeah.
The Hall of Fame situation.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, because as many years as it's been disappointing that he hasn't gotten it, and then we're kind of in the same situation this year.
I think it's as simple as this, Sonny. Walter Jones, Orlando Pace, Jonathan Ogden, all the same era, all left tackles, all in the Hall of Fame. Tony Baselli is as good or better than all three.
Right.
I think Walter Jones is the closest. I would take Tony over all out of the four. He was a rare breed of talent, rare breed of size, speed. His feet were incredible. His arms were really long and powerful. He knew how to punch. He worked at his game. He was very balanced. He had tenacity. He wanted to embarrass you. He wanted to hurt you. He was the perfect left tackle. And look, I know we're teammates, but I'm telling you, that guy, unbelievable. I'm glad I didn't have to go against him in practice. He dealt with the other linebacker, the outside backer, instead of me.
Yeah. Now, looking at the Jaguars, obviously, Jaguar fan, you former player there. This whole situation regarding getting rid of Urban Meyer, I'm not even going to jump into that. That was unfortunately a disaster that ended up happening. But
yeah.
The idea of maybe bringing back a familiar face in one Byron Leftwich, what a great idea. When I was hearing about it and we were talking within our show, who would be the best fit? And I was like, well, I want some experience. I want some guy that knows how to coach. I want somebody who's been there and done that. But there was only one outside of that thinking that I would have went with, obviously with his connections with Tampa Bay, Bruce Arians, making it to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl. I thought Byron Leftwich was a shoo-in for this position. Did you feel that way, or did you feel like, obviously now with the addition of Doug Peterson, maybe that was the right way to go? Who would you have wanted if you were wearing the GM hat for the Jaguars?
Well, I think this team needs stability in its leadership. It needs to, we've thrown the at the wall. We've tried the risky moves. We needed stability. I wanted either Jim Caldwell or Doug Peterson early on. I wanted everything. Look, with Urban, that whole circus and fiasco and all the crap that went with it, we needed someone to come in with strong leadership skills and bring stability to this organization. So how they got there is, however they got there. He's the coach now. As far as first-year head coach candidates, Byron's the top of the list, without a doubt. So if they ended up working a deal with him, man, I'd be just as excited as I am for Doug Peterson to take the reins and see what they can do. Now, the honeymoon's over quick. You know what I'm saying? Let's see who you bring in. Let's see your staff. And then let's see what kind of team you put together, because this team needs a lot of work.
Yeah, and that was my question. If they brought in Byron Leftwich, who was he going to fit around him? Obviously, he's got the connections and things of that sort. We didn't necessarily know that. But when you go with the Doug Peterson and you make that decision, number one, when you look at the cons and that whole situation for the last 3 or 4 years, we kind of looked at this as a circus act in reality as far as the Jaguars were concerned. Now we, like you said, stability with a guy that has been there, done that, won the Super Bowl. This is the kind of thing that could put the Jaguars in a situation where they could be successful because of the division that they're playing in, even though I think that opens up a lot of doors for this football team.
Well, and on top of that, Sonny, Doug has been known in his resume that he develops young quarterbacks. And he came through the Andy Reid, tree. So he's been around great offensive minds for a long time. He's a play caller himself. He knows how to develop. Everyone talks about the Carson Wentz development, which is valid, but let's not forget, here Wentz gets hurt. Here comes Foles, and they go to the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, Foles played well, but, the coach had to figure that out and game plan and whatnot. So I like it. I think at the end of the day, however we got here, I don't really care. I'm just glad we have a coach that has a track record, that has won a Super Bowl, Not only that, people forget this. They went back-to-back playoffs after the Super Bowl and had to win like 4 or 5 games each year to get in.
Yep.
So it's not, look, normally when you win a Super Bowl, what happens the next year? A lot of times you crumble. Like everyone goes their separate way and chases the money and everything else. And, you don't keep it together. So got to give him some credit there. I think it's a good move overall. And look, Shad Khan did say Saturday they're going to restructure the upper office, executive office. So expect a executive VP of operations to come in and take over, I think, just under the owner, Shad Khan.
Well, that's a good point. Now, did that happen because of maybe that was what was wanted from the new head coach, Doug Peterson? He's looked at the organization and said, wait a minute, we're missing pieces here. Or was that already in the works?
You don't know, because at the press conference, Shad Khan said, nobody said they didn't want to work with our GM. There was no talk of that. And then he would just switch right into the Doug Peterson. So again, I don't know. Like, I don't know how they got. I do believe, although he's saying they didn't. So I shouldn't say I believe, but there was I don't even want to call it a rumor. It was known that they offered Byron the job.
Yes.
And then he wanted to bring in Adrian Wilson with him. And then that kind of muddied everything up. Shad didn't know what to do. I thought they were trying to negotiate the whole time. Well, Shad Khan at the press conference said there was no offer. So I don't, who knows? I don't think he's going to say anything. And quite honestly, I don't, he's the owner. Let's just be happy we've got, a coach that has got the resume. He's not perfect. Nobody is. He's a lot less risky than Byron. I'll tell you, Byron would be great, and his story would be great, and everything that goes along with it would be absolutely fantastic. But I'll take the experience, and I'll take the track record, and I'll take the resume of Doug Peterson right now for this team at this time. We need to settle things down. It was a mess. You saw it. It was a mess, and I'm glad that now we can settle down a little bit and see what we can do.
We already know what we're going to get as far as the offensive side of the ball. Doug Peterson's going to go in there. He's going to plug in some guys. But I want to go to your side of the football, a guy that watches this defense and knows what you should be doing at certain times. And does this team have the capabilities to be able to, stand up to all the other teams within their own division of football, and then never mind the whole AFC to make a run at the playoffs?
Yeah, I think they have enough guys. Now, granted, they have to add to it. Now, Joe Cullen's gone, right? He has moved on. He's gone to the Kansas City Chiefs as their defensive line coach. So defensive coordinator position is wide open. There's rumors of a Mike Zimmer. There's rumors of a Vic Fangio. Joe came in last year, ran a 3-4. The year before that, they ran a 4-3, more like a little bit of a hybrid with Todd Washington. They were good at times, and then they were horrific at times. Yeah. They would show up for a game, and then they wouldn't show up for 4 games. It was really inconsistent. But, Sonny, I think they've got enough guys at key. They need to add more key positions, but I think they got enough guys to really put out a decent defense. Look, in the beginning of the year, their backfield we didn't know. Like, Rayshawn Jenkins is good, but everything else was kind of like, Shaquille Griffin was okay. He started to come on. Campbell at first was like, so. And we got rid of Henderson. Remember, they traded him to Carolina. Yeah. They just drafted him the year before in the first round out of Florida. But then Tyson Campbell. So anyway, my point is this. At the end of the year, you had Tyson Campbell and Shaquille Griffin playing some really good football, and we found 2 safeties, Andre Cisco and Daniel Thomas. Daniel's a second-year player, and Cisco is a rookie out of Syracuse. They should have been playing them both early, although Rayshawn, you'd have to figure something out. So we've emerged, I think, with a pretty solid defensive backfield. You got Miles Jack, who had a not a great year, but he's still capable of being a very good player, especially if you protect him up front, which the D-line wasn't. They were okay. They weren't terrible. Damian Wilson, the free agent signee last year, you gotta re-sign him. Number 54. He's a player. He makes plays. He came out from week, middle of the season on. He was dominant. He was creating sacks. He was getting picks, making a lot of tackles. So I think, we're going to add to the linebacker. Look, Josh Allen is a good player. He's sometimes great, but he's not consistently great, so you can't call him great. Now, in his defense, he's got, on the other side. Now, Dwayne Smoot, he always comes through. 6.5, 7 sacks. He's a tough player against the run. He'll give you everything you got, but you don't have a dominating pass rusher on the other side of Josh Allen. So you're going to have to fix that. Or at least bring someone in to compete that's, knows how to, get to the quarterback. So, if you could figure that out, you may get a pass rush. I think Josh Allen's capable. I think he's a better athlete than actual pass rusher. Yep. But if he continues to work on his game and those techniques and those hands, you can get better. Your craft can get better. He's got tremendous athletic ability. Roy Robinson Harris was a great pickup from the Bears. Very tough guy inside. Played that 3-4 D end. The run stopping. Hold the force D end. He was good. And then inside it was okay.
That's where I was worried about.
That was okay. We're gonna have to upgrade that.
We talked about a couple of times, where these games are won. And it's right there. It's on the offense and defensive line when you guys are squaring up and punching people in the mouth and getting ready to go. But you mentioned Myles Jackson. I thought it was interesting how you put it as far as his production from last year. And you and I you're a player. The last person I should be disagreeing with is you based upon it. But thinking about where the team was and the attitude of the team. Do you think some of that kind of fed into the performance of Myles Jackson? Because that guy should have been, like you said, up a little bit better than what we got. Do you think the effect of the football team went down to his level and kind of affected how he played?
Look, I don't, maybe, Sonny, but here's the real reason why he didn't have a great year. They gave up a ton of yards per carry. And I know it's a passing league, and you got to be really good at disrupting the quarterback. You have to. But if you can't stop the run in critical moments, you're going to lose a lot of games. When they're trying to run down the clock, when they get it, 3rd and 1, and they get the first down, and you don't stop them, if you get pushed around, it kills you, no doubt. So their yards given up was terrible. It was almost 5 yards a carry or 4.5 or something. No, it ended up about 4.4, I think. So, but I
thought it was 4.5. So, but
4.5. It got worse.
That's a number that you really want to get down, especially if he gets to the end of the game and they're taking the clock away.
Right. Game. And my whole reason of saying that is that's a direct correlation to your triangle of 2 defensive tackles and your linebacker, or your defensive tackle and your end to protect that linebacker. You can't, as a linebacker, make plays when the defensive linemen are in your lap or close to it. If they're getting pushed back and you trying to they get in your way, it just doesn't work out. Their job is to make sure those linemen don't get free on you. That's really their job in the 3-4. Yeah, you want to make tackles when it's there, but your real job, that 3-4 knows, don't let that guard come off or center come off with an easy come off and get square on your backer. You got to grab him a little bit. You got to hold him a little bit. You got to, take that double team and disrupt it so much that he can't just go up on the linebacker. Or if you do that, then you better make the play. If you're going to do that, if you're going to let him off, then you better damn well make the play. Because let me tell you something, other than stuffing them in the hole, you don't want to wrestle grizzly bears too many times when you're not a grizzly bear.
Absolutely.
You end up not winning a lot. So you got to use that to your advantage,
The division next year is going to be interesting. I don't know what you think about Tennessee. I thought what they did regarding losing, Henry for the 8 games and the step in and just continuing on and making and doing what they did. The whole situation now, all the talk is Ryan Tannehill, the guy that's going to be able to take them there. There's questions on that. Within the division right now, you got 3 teams that really are not really performing up to snuff. And then you have the Tennessee Titans with a quarterback question. What do you think about the Tennessee Titans? Do they keep a Ryan Tannehill for another year, or are they going to go searching for a quarterback?
That's a great question. They say they're going to keep him, or at least that's the latest, right? Yeah. That's the latest. He's like a Ken doll, you know what I mean? When it's good, it's good. He's like a Ken doll. When it's good, it's good. And when it's not, he's He's just not good enough. He's not a bad quarterback. He's actually can be really good at times, but in critical moments, it just doesn't happen. Listen, Vrabel made some questionable calls in that last game. I mean, he's got to be kicking himself for a couple of those, short yardage, not going for the field goal, but going for it. The play call was terrible. I mean, just some of them were just like, anyway, but, can you win with Tannehill? Yeah. Do I think they'll go looking? Look, I mean, who are you going to try to grab? Derek Carr, maybe? Throw Derek Carr in mix. Listen, if I'm Indy, I'm looking at Derek Carr.
Quarterback, by the way.
Yeah. If I'm Indianapolis, I'm looking at Derek Carr, maybe.
Yep.
That guy's got a lot of talent, man.
Pittsburgh with their situation, bringing in an experience that might be able to get them over the hump until if they do go draft and get a quarterback, what they're going to do there to try to get that squared away.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Yeah. Now, the big news this week, obviously, Brian Flores, the situation here. And Pandora's box has been kind of open. Never mind the situation with the African-American coaches not getting head coaches. You have the gambling aspect of it with games being thrown and hearing of that story. I wanted to get your input on that whole situation because that can go about 6 different directions if you let it.
Yeah. Well, look, they're obviously two different things. They're the inequalities that we know are there. Mm-hmm. You can see them. You can even see them this year, possibly. You can make a case for it, but the other side is, throwing games. Asking your coach to throw a game. I mean, that's just insane. And I don't care if it was for 1 game or 3 games or for the whole year. If that can be proven, that owner should be stripped of his ownership. He should be forced to sell. That's just tough. Look, Brian Flores, BC guy like myself. I don't know Brian personally. He's a lot younger than I am.
A lot younger.
But what a great he's a great coach. First and foremost, boys. First and foremost, he's a phenomenal coach. And what he did with the Dolphins the last couple of years was incredible based on everything that was going on. And I'm not a huge fan of Tua. I'm not. And look, he inherited whatever, but it is what it is. I thought he was a great coach. Ross fired him because I don't know why he fired him. Who knows? Why did they fire David Culley? I don't know. I don't look, the Raiders let go Braskia or whatever his name is. He did a good job too.
Yes.
So did David Culley. I don't think David Culley should have been fired. Why was he fired? I don't know. Did they think they could upgrade him? I don't know. If they bring in Flores or Lovey, yeah, okay, you get it. But at the same, who knows? I don't know. And
it's not like subjective in reality of it, in getting in the mind of an owner / GM or whoever's really making the decisions for a football team is the big story there as far as that is concerned. So when you look at a team having to make those decisions, wild hair comes to my mind when an owner or a GM gets a wild hair and is asked, what are they going to do? But when you look at some of the teams where they fired an African-American coach and then what is coming up behind them, you're like, how did the hell did that happen in the first place?
Right. Well, I mean, did they fire David Culley because he's black or why did they fire him? I mean, is that – I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't. I hope they wouldn't. That's disgusting. I don't understand that. This whole thing is great. I thought of something
live, and they were competitive, and almost every
I agree.
Game, it was amazing.
I wouldn't have fired him. I thought he was. He had it. Found the quarterback, the kid from Stanford. He was coming around. It seemed like they're a rival. I was shocked at that. I was shocked that Brian got fired. Like, why would you fire after 10-6 and then 9-8 or whatever it ended up being? So
I think that decision was made when they were 1-7, and it was just something they were going to do at the end of the year, and they just fulfilled it. Unlike watching as one guy used to say, Randy Galloway, watch the damn games because not only that, they played really well against good football teams in order to get the victory. That was huge.
Right.
So,
I don't think Brian got fired because he was black in Miami. I mean, the GM's black as well. I think the owner just said, "Hey, I don't want him anymore. He's not, doing what I want him to do or
personality
whatever.
conflict.
Who knows? It's just not whatever it is. It's wrong. I think it's wrong. I would have kept him.
Yeah.
He's a great coach. Now, granted, Is it true that him and Tua not getting along? Maybe. Do you pick the player over the coach? Maybe. I don't know. We're not in those conversations, but
Right.
I just thought of something while you were talking, because look, the Rooney Rule was made to give the minority candidates, African American and other minority candidates, a chance to interview for really like bigger jobs, head coach, general manager, whatever it is, right? Moving up the ladder, like everybody else, or all the white people have, however you want to say that, you know what I mean? Like haven't had the chance to move up. Okay, so I like the Rooney Rule, right? But how do you enforce it? Well,
Right.
maybe you have to have you appoint somebody to manage that on behalf of the league, that a third party that says, hey, we're going to make sure, because we're going to sit in that interview. We're going to listen to the interview. We're going to listen to after the interview. We're going to be in there. We want to make sure that these gentlemen, and eventually women, hopefully, have a legitimate shot at winning this job. Right. Regardless. So you know what? And you appoint that. Maybe you can make that happen. Because look, I don't know. Did the Giants? They brought in Brian Flores, right, for a 5-hour interview, whatever it was, a long interview. Right. He says they never wanted him in the first place. They're saying, look, we were there. He was there to the 11th hour. It was down to the wire. We went a different direction. I don't know. Would you use Brian Flores in that kind of way? Boys, be quiet. We'll lie down. The two shepherds, sorry. They're both males. Anyway, it's better if I sit outside. It's nice out here. But anyway, look, obviously more opportunity has to happen, real opportunity. And that's all anybody can ask for, right? You shouldn't be hired based on whether you're white or black or Asian, or that shouldn't even matter. And, coming from, at least from my perspective, obviously I'm a white guy, but, maybe I have a different perspective, but coming from the locker room, none of that shit mattered, man.
I didn't think so.
It didn't matter. None of that. It didn't matter your religion. It didn't matter where you came from. It didn't matter what you looked like. All that mattered was, could you play, and were you a good dude? And the best, and by the way, the best players play. Yes. I mean, we all believe that. Now, there was some, political stuff. Guys drafted higher, they get more opportunities, or a big free agent gets big money, playing poorly, you're not going to bench him. He's too, there's no return. There's some of that. But at the end of the day, the best players play. So, I don't know. I hope Flores gets hired. I do. I think he would be great. A great hire for the Houston Texans.
All right, Cuervo, I got you in there. I know he just got off of work, as he's in the Cali area. A question for Tom McManus and the whole situation. I don't know how much you heard with the new hire of Doug Peterson. Fire away to the impeccable Tom McManus. What you got, Cuervo?
Impeccable he is. And Tom, I missed you last time.
Yeah,
I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate
What's
you
up,
making
Coro?
some time for us.
How are you?
I'm life is good, Tom. Life is good. So, I'm listening to you guys talking about the whole Flores situation, and look, I don't have any of the inside sources that you may have or Sonny has. What I have heard though is that he's a very tough-nosed disciplinarian type coach.
Yeah.
And I've heard mixed things. Today's players, they're not really into that style anymore. Do you think maybe that kind of played a part too in why maybe he wasn't getting the consideration that maybe some people think he should have gotten?
Well, listen, he's from Belichick, right?
Yeah.
Look at, and I'll answer that in a second. Look at what Josh McDaniels said. He's getting his second shot now with the Raiders. When he was with the Broncos, what did he say? He's like, I didn't know how to treat people. Because Belichick's just the way he is, right? There's no real big personality. Maybe he doesn't show a lot of his softer side and whatnot. You know what I mean? So you kind of get used to that. And maybe Flores, look, if you look, how many coaches from Belichick have been successful head coaches?
Good point.
And maybe that's part of the deal. They have this, hey, it's my way or the highway, and that doesn't always work. I will say this. I think today's player want the structure. They want the discipline. They just want it delivered in a softer kind of way. You don't have to scream at me every time. You don't have to yell at me, whatever the case is. I don't know what that background noise is. I don't think it's me. Anyway,
it might be me.
Yeah, that's all right. Anyway, so I think the delivery's just got to be better. And by the way, I think Doug Peterson's that guy. I think he can joke around. I think he can also, lay the foot down and be like, guys, I mean, look, to me, it's really simple, right? Because being out of the game for now, 25 years or 30 years or whatever it's coming up on, there is nothing like playing in the NFL. Right. There's nothing like being an NFL player. And I don't know about NBA and Major League. It's probably the same in NHL and soccer and all that, all MMA and all that stuff, UFC. I'm sure it's all relatively the same. But being an NFL player, there is nothing like it. Not just playing, but the life and the lifestyle and everything that goes with it and the people you meet and the things that you're introduced to and the people you're introduced to. And obviously the money's ridiculous. You don't make that money in the real world, trust me. Trust me, I know firsthand. It's really simple. Like you gotta be. Hang on, I gotta go inside. They're gonna be a little loud. I'm sorry.
Got some mad love for you.
They're German shepherds. They protect. That's all I can add. At least they're good. They're good dogs anyway. Yes. You know what I mean? Where was I at? If you don't mind me asking.
I just lost you too, but. And that being said, I mean, you look at the structures of teams and where they go, and it's just like kids. They want the discipline. They want that thing. They may not know it at that moment, but when you get to the Super Bowl, that's when all that stuff kind of goes, wow, how'd that whole thing work?
Right.
Now, you were under Tom Coughlin. I mean, Coach Tom Coughlin, you paid for him. The styles are different than what they were. Back in the day compared to when you played to where they are, so that type of coach, Bill Belichick is still that coach. How does that guy get that? How do you think Bill Belichick gets to these guys to get them to play? Or is that a whole thing with the coaching staff working with them to get that done?
Oh, I think it trickles down, of course. I mean, but he's got the hardware. I mean, he can say that. He can sit you for 3 weeks. And what are you going to do? You can mess up in practice and he's going to sit you. Well, if you don't have, 5, 6 Super Bowl trophies, it's hard to lay that law kind of down. I don't know. I think you got to be a little bit of both. You got to just let them know. I don't know. I was saying just about going back to, man, you want to win. Like you want to do everything you can to be the best you can be. Because guess what? It's going to end. And you never know when it's going to end. Right? Both of my injuries were non-contact. They were in games, but they were non-contact. I was just cutting. I've seen guys get hurt in practice and be done forever. I've seen guys get hurt in the weight room and be done forever. You never know when it's over. Hardly anybody gets to walk into the sunset like Tom freaking Brady.
Yes.
That's like 1 in a million. Most guys don't get to do that. They're cut short because they get hurt. Yep. They're not good enough anymore. The talent's passed them by, or they've gotten so pricey that nobody wants them anymore. But it ends eventually.
What they did, Teddy Bridgewater, a classic example, walking from one field to another, gets that crazy injury, and he really hasn't been the same since. And that's the kind of thing you're talking about as far as
it can end like that, man. It can end like that. So to me, the message is easy. Do your job. Who was that? Peyton?
Yeah.
I mean, how did Peyton get it done? He still had that hard, but he was also likable. He showed I'll tell you a great story. I may have shared this with you all the years we've been on together.
Yeah.
Dick Vermeil told me a story that he went to Coughlin when Coughlin was with the Giants, and they were having a conversation, and he told him, he said, Tom, you got to show him that you care. You got to show him your other side. You got to show him what I see, man. You're great. You got to show him this. And his family was telling him it. So he started doing it, and it totally worked. It totally worked. So he still could be that principled, hard kind of guy, but he does it in a way like if you believe that he cares for me, I'm going to do whatever for him, right? And for the team. So you can have both. And by the way, Dick Vermeil, he was known for having the toughest practices in the NFL. 3 hours, full pads, conditioning, hitting like crazy. Like two-a-days were crazy. Zach Weger was on our team. He came from the Rams, and he's like, that guy is insane. Yeah. I'm like, man, all you know about him is crying at the podium, right? Yeah. Getting emotional.
As he got older, he kind of
yeah, no doubt. So anyway, I think Doug Peterson's that guy. I think that kind of coach is more well received. And look, in Brian Flores' case, hopefully he's learned from that. Right. Hopefully McDaniels has learned from it. McDaniels is lucky he's getting another shot.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully
especially
he's learned.
Denver. Yep.
Right. And who did he leave at the altar? The Colts, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
What about you? I've known you for 12 years. I never asked, why aren't you coaching? Or have you had the opportunity? I know they had even an indoor football team that you kind of were peeking around it. How come you're not coaching? Or have you actively looked for it? Or is that something you're not interested in?
No, I don't know. The timing just would have to be right. I initially didn't want to get into coaching because I didn't, I didn't want to I'm married. So when we got married, my wife was young. She was 22 years of age. I was
Jacksonville Jaguar cheerleader, by the way.
Pro Bowl cheerleader.
Yes, there you go.
1998. We are very proud of her. We celebrated yesterday.
Yeah, I saw the picture.
She's the best. We've been married 22 years, but she was young. And I wasn't, and we got she got pregnant pretty quick after we got married. And that natural family planning stuff doesn't really work, for the record. Very tough to accomplish. Let me just say
imagine.
We stopped that quickly. I saw how Coughlin and his staff grinded, and they never saw their families. They were never around. And I never I didn't want to, I wasn't ready to say to my wife, hey, will you be a football wife? She's like, what? I couldn't. And I didn't want to do that. I wasn't into it then. Now that I'm older and the girls are older, I would do it in the right situation. It'd be fun. I'd love to, even if it was just a position group, I'd love to share some knowledge. I think personally, I watched the Jaguars. The way I was taught to play linebacker, I'm not talking ability. I'm talking how to read, how to key. I think it's the best way to do it. And you, if you do it right, you should never be out of position.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cuervo, before we lose him, we're going to lose Tom. Well, I think he's froze. Yep, he's froze. Cuervo's froze out, so we lost him. But I want to thank you for coming on, especially Doug Peterson. Big news there, especially now. They were going to go a different direction. A former Houston Texan coach I heard interviewed. I was like, oh my God, I hope that does not happen. I don't know if I could root for the Jaguars if they did it. But I love the Doug Peterson add-on, and within this division, it's wide open basically because of the quarterback position in Tennessee. So it's a wide open situation.
Oh, I agree
for that. So
listen, Bill O'Brien's a personal friend. I know things didn't go well there, but he's actually a pretty good guy from every time I've been around him.
Got it.
Whatever. But hey, I hope the search ends quick for Houston and their fan base.
But I'll give you the breaking news. Lovie Smith is actually, from every place I've read, has been the new hire over in Houston. So and Cuervo, a former, he is a Bear fan, so he got the opportunities in Tampa Bay. You've seen him over in the Tampa Bay area and things like that too, I imagine. So, congratulations on the relevant. Now, I might have to. Now, is there something I got to do? Is there a group that I join in order to do something like that, or how does that work? Or do you know?
Yeah, of course I know. So you download the free app. It's a free download. You become a member. It's like your name and your email, basically.
Okay.
And then you can search through all our collections. We have Pro Football Fanatics with some other collections. They're filled with podcasts. You can either go in on one of those channels. You can create your own channel. Whatever you're doing, the Sonny Clark Show, whatever. All you got to do is create the vibe. It's so simple. You hit the plus button, create a vibe. You put your picture in. Very easy to do. The title, description of your show. Boom, you've got your own channel. Now you've got to, and I'll show you how, but it's so easily shareable to your other social media platforms.
That has to be easy because I'm like so far behind
easy.
that. It's unbelievable.
Sonny, it's so easy. I'll walk you right through it. It's
Sounds
simple.
like a plan. Now, when's the next gig? When are you going to get behind the mic and get those golden
it's funny you say that.
Going?
So we haven't done anything in about a year, but this Wednesday we're just getting together. We kind of panned it as we're just gonna jam out, have some fun, and then let's see what happens from there. But yeah, I've been practicing.
Yeah, COVID threw a mean old curveball into that whole situation.
Everything, yeah. Oh yeah.
And what's the drink? You have a connection with what's the drink you're drinking that there?
Depends on the night. Right now, I'm just sipping on some wine.
Got it. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally, I'm Tito's. I'm a Tito's guy or some beers.
Yep.
Yep.
And you're still doing the horse's mouth, correct?
We are. We just started filming season 5. We're. I
love that show, by the way, and I'm not even in your area, and now I want to go and find out what's going on. But the one last question I got.
Hey, wait, we're gonna work on having a remote, interview where you're on the screen and I'm talking to you. Yeah.
Okay.
From the bar, it's gonna be cool.
That sounds like a blast, by the way.
Yeah, totally.
Now, being in Jacksonville, have you been peeking around the AEW area where the wrestling's going on? Obviously, it's right there in front of you. Have you had the opportunity to, first of all, see a show? And second of all, what do you think about the AEW? And obviously with Khan owning that.
Oh, no, I think it's awesome. I love wrestling. I have not been to a show yet, but I would totally go to a show, but I have not. I love that wrestling. That's great theater, man. Those people are nuts.
Yes,
they are absolutely, and they're great athletes, and they're tough as heck, man.
Yeah, so
I don't know, and some of them are mammoth. Like you wouldn't even want to wrestle them. I'd crush you.
Crazy. And by the way, when the firing happened, for Jacksonville, they were in Garland, where we're at in the Dallas area, and John was there. Not just his son, but he was there too. So they fired him from a wrestling show, which I thought was kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, Tony's done a good job with that. Tony's a really smart guy, man. He's really grown the AEW. It continues.
That'll be a lot of fun. I got my handy dandy AEW hat. As
nice.
So
who do you got? Who do you got in a Super Bowl?
But I'm looking. You said it to me before, and this game's going to be won on the line. So I want to know who's going to, be able to make some impact and move on the line. And when I was looking at it, at least initially, watching the games and everything, I like what the Rams are able to do, obviously, with the 1-2-3 punch that they got on that defensive line. I'm wondering how the hell is the, Bengals offensive line going to be able to handle that? Because, now, Aaron Donald's not being double teamed or triple teamed anymore, triple teamed at one point. Now he's got a double team. He's going to make a beeline for him. How they react to that, as far as the offensive line, Joe Burrow, that's going to be the big question on what I think about who's going to win the game. But just initially looking at the lines and who's going to work, I think the defensive line for the Rams is probably going to end up winning that game. They're going to win it in the trenches, I think.
Okay. I think they're going to come up with a game plan. By the way, across the street is a high school stadium. They're playing like lacrosse or soccer.
Oh, cool.
You probably heard someone screaming. It's such a great community, man. We love it. We love it here. But I think you can combat that with quick throws, getting it out quick. And look,
that's what he's good at.
Since he's receiving core is
1,
legit.
2, 3.
Higgins is a beast.
Yards from 3 wide receivers.
I know. And then you got Mixon out of the backfield. And if Uzoma's healthy, let's hope so, man. He's a beast too. I hope he can come back.
Yeah, that knee injury. There was a knee injury, right? That he suffered in the playoff game.
Yeah, MCL. Oh no, was it the ankle? I thought it was.
That's right. It was an ankle. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
they'll pump
they got
that
a lot of
weapons
too, so we'll see if they can cover him down. And I tell you who I think. Who I think.
There he is.
Sorry about that. I
That's all
don't
right.
know how that happened. You're going to have a chance with two things. Higbee's out for LA, and I would attack Reeder, number 51, in the passing game.
Got it. I see.
He doesn't cover. He doesn't cover as well as, but it's got to be quick stuff. Like you come into him and break out, get him in man, even in cover two. Send that tight end out and or send the tight end in and let that Sam try to cover him and send the back up something to where you put pressure on Reeder to cover.
Could you have come back the last week of the season going into the playoffs, the year you retired, someone picked up phone, Tommy, can we get you back, for a few more games to get us to the Super Bowl? Could you have done that? Well, actually you were hurt, but if you were healthy, could you have gotten in shape, got ready to play the last few games of the season?
So I got hurt when I was 29. That was my last year. I thought I could play up until about 31 or 2.
Right.
I kept myself in pretty good shape, and I wasn't even trying out or anything, but I could have.
You got, I got Cuervo. One more question, then we'll let Tom go. He's a busy man. You got one more thing for him, Cuervo?
Oh, just one, Sonny? Hey, that's okay. I know Tom's a busy man, so.
No, I'm good. We're good. I might have to go into the kitchen and fill up my glass, but we're good.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have gotten into I heard there's a game going on next Sunday. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but yeah, I guess there's a football game going on next Sunday. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that, Tom. What's your first
I'm leaning Cincy. I'm leaning Cincy right now.
I
am.
I'm kind of feeling the same way. I just, Sonny and I talk about it all the time, especially when it comes to the playoffs. The one thing, I don't care how talented you are, the one thing that you can't stop a team from having is the big momentum.
Right.
And I think Cincinnati's got it, man. They've got it right now. I know the Rams can score at will with all the weapons that they have, and I'm so happy for Matthew Stafford that he's getting his opportunity finally. But I kind of feel the same way. I think Cincinnati's got the momentum right now. What do you think would stop Cincinnati from the momentum? Would it be a turnover? Would it be just overall discipline, penalties? Like what do you see that would stop Cincinnati from the momentum that they've got right now?
Well, if Cincinnati, it depends what defense we're going to get. Are we going to get the first half against the Chiefs or the second half? Because the first half, they got run out of the gym. I mean, it wasn't even pretty. They couldn't stop shit. In the second half, they shut it all down.
Yes.
I mean, Tyreek Hill didn't even catch a pass, I don't think. Yeah. Hardman was nowhere to be found. Kelsey was dink and dunk. Mahomes' stats were awful, like 5 of 18 for 50 yards, with no scores, no nothing, maybe a pick or so. If that's what, I'll be honest with you, that's what makes me lean Cincy is the defense. If they can play like that against Stafford, I think you can get to Stafford. I think you can get to that offense. Look, the offensive line of the Rams isn't that great.
No.
They played tough last in the championship, but overall, they're not that great. Those tackles can be had. Whitworth and the other guy, they can be had on some rushes. So I don't know. I think Cincy, I think they feel like they can win. I think they got enough horsepower with the offensive weapons. And again, if that defense can come to play like they did against KC in the second half, they're going to win that game. It's going to be close, but they're going to win it.
Real quick follow-up question, though, on that, Tom. I'm glad you mentioned that as far as the first and the second half of that. Do you think it was more Cincinnati adjusting defensively? Or, in my opinion, I think Kansas City's downfall is their lack of adjusting offensively. So when defenses adjust to what Kansas City's doing, I feel like they don't make adjustments to kind of get away from what the defense is doing. So I don't know if you see it the same way, but that's how I see it. I think it was more Kansas City tends to be stubborn at times, and they try to do the same things like it's going to work. And then before you know it, the game is tied, or kind of what you saw last Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I would say this, in the first half again, I mean, how many times was Hill wide open?
Yes.
Streaking across.
Yeah.
Crossing routes. I mean, those are hard to cover.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're man, and even if you're zone, because you got to pass it through the zone. And if the quarterback has time, they're usually a hole. And those guys are so damn fast that they're always wide open. But how many times in the second half were they wide open? You never saw them open.
No.
So they clamped them down. Now, to your point, Cuervo, maybe they didn't make the proper adjustments once that started happening. But regardless, I mean, it happened, and I think you can. And look, you're absolutely correct on this. The Rams saw that, and they're going to have a counterpunch. If they take away, these, OBJ, they take away Coop underneath, they're going to have to make adjustments. They're probably working through that as we speak. So there'll be a counterpunch to that, and then Cincinnati's going to have to be ready for their own defense of that counterpunch. So that'll be a great chess match.
Hey, in case you didn't know it, Tom, we're like pioneers on the internet. I mean, we're talking 13 years we've been kind of doing this. We've brought we kind of brought internet radio, this right here, the streaming of the video. We've kind of brought it to the forefront and things, 13 years I've known you. How many years you've been in the media? You see the change in what's going on. You talk about the Relevant app. Do you see the Relevant app going video at some point as well?
Yeah, we're actually our next our build is ephemeral videos, the quick videos. So they're going to be cool. You're going to be able to see them, and then you can have longer ones as well, but be like little teasers of what you're going to get. So yeah, videos coming.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
Yeah. So, well, Tom, I'd like to thank you. Give us a
man.
full hour. You knock it out of the park every single time. And
Always
I appreciate
fun, dude.
you coming on. And whenever you're ready to do that, just let me know. I'll make some adjustments to my schedule to fit yours to do the horse's mouth. I can't wait. If and when that ends up happening, let me know. We'll knock it on down.
Totally. That'd be great.
Got it. All right. He is Tom McManus, the former Jacksonville Jaguar linebacker. My favorite Jaguar of all time wore the old school Jaguars.
I like it. It looks good on you, Sonny.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Tom. Appreciate it. So
later, Cuervo. Later, dude.
All right, Tom. Thanks again. Take care.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Later.
You betcha. He's Tom McManus. Oh, I just love that dude. That dude, you want to talk about just knocking the freaking knowledge right into our faces? We get it all the time when he comes on. I would love to be able to, but the guy's so busy because he's got his hustle going on. Stealing an hour a year, I love it. And especially around this time, Cuervo, Super Bowl time. And, we got the 3-hour extravaganza on Super Bowl Sunday. And I'm leaving it to you. When are we doing that show? What time are we kicking it off? Because I want to make sure you can do the show and still have the festivities with your family and friends and your wife.
Yeah, I can, Sonny. As I'm sure you've noticed by now, every year I tend to be the host of the party, so that is going to happen once again. But honestly, I would say I don't want to go too early, but the sooner the better, because I do want to make sure everything's all set up and ready to go prior to the
What
game.
time's your party start?
I think what I'm gonna do, I haven't fully decided yet, but I think what I'm gonna do is have everybody over at about 4:00 your time.
Okay. 4:00 my time.
That's about
so then we
that's
should
about
be
an hour
off
and a half before kickoff.
We should be off the air 2 hours before to give you 2 hours to TCB and take care of the party. So you'll have 2 hours, or do you need 3 hours to get that ready?
Well, we do actually plan on doing some catering. So if we can do 3 hours, that'd be great.
All right. So let's do this. Let's do 9 to noon my time. If you can get up that early. Can I get you up that early?
I'm always up that early. Son.
The
That's our normal
man
time.
Crack of dawn. Of course he's up. Come on now.
By
the way, the beard is coming in good.
It's coming in good.
Itches. First time, right? First time you've done it, it itches, drive you crazy, right?
It is itching a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. It's different. I'll tell you that, Sonny. It's definitely different.
You almost look like a totally different person. I almost didn't expect to see or recognize you there. But
looking at myself in the camera, I'm like, wait a minute, is that me?
Who the hell is that?
Yeah, right.
Oh man, Tom McManus, just a great guest, great dude, by the way. And he invited me onto his local show, which is cool. The Horse's Mouth. He's going to have me on that. I
remember that.
Hey, Cuervo, we're like pioneers, dude. 12 years ago, no one heard of Blog Talk Radio. No one heard of doing, talk radio shows, just regular guys doing it. Dude, we are pioneers in this field. And by the way, the only reason why we're on video, I told you this off air. I'm going to tell it. The reason why we're on video is because of that guy right there, Cuervo. He was like, man, we should do Facebook Live. And then all of a sudden, Facebook Live, which was horrible at the time, moved into this good platform, that being StreamYard. And I'll tell you right now, I can't get enough of StreamYard. And I get to do artwork and everything and have a lot of fun with it. I wish I could have had more time for the Tom McManus, but he actually confirmed this morning, and I was at work, so I didn't get enough time to do like a big artwork stuff there. But I did get the video for his intro and everything, so I did get that done. So that was kind of cool. So, hey, Cuervo, lots of news in the NFL. You heard? I don't know if you heard about it. I mean, you've been at work. I don't know. You might have got a dent. But Kyler Murray taking all of the Arizona Cardinals stuff off of his social media. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had an answer for you, Sonny. I mean, I honestly don't know. Because here's the thing. I mean, he's coming up on the last year of his rookie contract.
Yes.
Say,
these mobile.
Let's get a deal done, or it could mean anything.
Interesting. He takes off all the pictures, which were, by the way, thousands of pictures. And if he signs and re-signs and gets the new contract, they got to put all those thousands back up. I mean, so who knows? But it does leave the door open. I mean, some crazy rumors because of the connection he made in the Pro Bowl. I did not watch 1 second of it, but to Mike Evans. So that, some thinking that some behind the scenes working from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, maybe bringing Kyler Murray over to Tampa Bay, and some even rumors that maybe he's could be done with football. Maybe he's going to go into some baseball. So interestingly enough, you got that kind of player there, Cuervo, that can play baseball, that can get paid a lot of money to play baseball. And then, of course, you got the football side of it. We haven't seen that kind of stuff since Bo Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something I didn't even think about. Yeah, I totally forgot that he was drafted by the Oakland A's.
Yes, he was.
I think it was the Oakland A's.
He was Oakland
that drafted.
Yes,
yeah,
he was.
And so that's something I didn't even think about, Sonny. Like him leaving football to go play baseball. Look, I mean, don't count it out. I don't know for sure, but don't count that out.
Well, listen, I will say this. The injuries that happen in the NFL, we never know all of them, right, Cuervo? We only get what's reported. There's lots of things that are not talked about on those injury lists and everything else. There could be some really nagging injuries or something that affects the way that he plays the game of football that he either A, can't do anymore or don't want to do anymore. And that could be an issue as far as that is concerned as well.
Yep.
It might be. So seeing him in a baseball uniform, I would actually – not that I'd get a ticket, but I'd head on over when he played the Texas Rangers in their new indoor facility, just like Chase Field in Arizona and stuff like that. By the way, I hit the road 3 days, Sonny Clark, on the road to Arizona and the Super Bowl. Going to be spending some time with the family on Super Bowl Sunday. And we'll be doing the show from Arizona, 3-hour extravaganza from Arizona. So I'm going to work that virtual background that you did and see if I can get that to work for me, because I'm not going to take the old green screen with me. It's kind of hard to roll that up and take it with me.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Kind of hard, so I'm going to try to see. But everybody says I move my hands too much and they'll look like a ghost going across the screen, because I do. I use my hand. I think I'm part Jewish and I don't know it, because Jewish people, they say that they talk with their hands. So I kind of do that myself. So interestingly enough, hey, by the way, crazy week as far as, but I want to get to where you go to a lot, regarding the Brian Flores, just open up Pandora's box more than what, Brian Flores did, with the allegations of games being thrown and how that affects Las Vegas and the gambling and everything else. You know what? Take away from the fact that the huge news, obviously, African-American coaches not getting the opportunity. It's going to be overshadowed, I think, because of the gambling, because of the laws that about gambling and things of that sort. So, interesting enough, what is your take up on that information that came out of the lawsuit from Brian Flores?
Yeah, I hate to admit it, Sonny, but I think it happens more than we know, and more than we'd like to know.
Well, what happened a few years back? The Philadelphia Eagles throwing that last game just made me so mad. Now, that was a Doug Peterson thing, but Doug Peterson was told to do that because Doug Peterson is not that guy. So, I don't think that that was the situation more so than anything else. But, I think you're right. I think that happens a lot more than what we are talking about. But the fact that, players were being paid thousands of dollars as well to throw those games, hundreds of thousands, if you believe what has been reported. This is the ugly truth on what the NFL is. They got everything and they can throw a lot of money at a lot of problems, Cuervo, but I don't know if they can throw a lot of money at the gambling problem or the allegations coming from Brian Flores.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole extra side
can of worms
itself. Yeah, well, yeah, that too. But it's really unfortunate that there's so much temptation to do those things.
Yes.
Nobody believes in integrity anymore. Nobody play. You hear all these, like Herm Edwards, you play to win the game.
Absolutely.
I just don't know that that's true anymore, Sonny. When we continue to hear these things about throwing games and getting paid to lose games, you don't play to win anymore. You play to get paid.
Yeah, play to get paid.
And then that's
well, think about this, Cuervo, too. Think about when rumors start coming out, and we're hearing a lot of them. There's a little truth to that meat, right? Now, it may not be, and I use this example, it may not be the filet mignon of the cow. It may be the ground round, but people still eat the ground round. There's enough talking going on about it to where you can't ignore it.
No, absolutely. And I mean, there's so much, underground type stuff, in-house stuff that doesn't get out to the media and to the public.
Yep.
I mean, who knows, Sonny? Who knows what else is going on, within the business of the NFL and
absolutely all the backwards. We said it on this show before. How do you get the NFL's attention? You throw women behind it. Well, now you throw the Nevada, the Nevada gambling behind it and everything else, and all the free gambling that's going on. It's opening up a lot of can of worms going on, because now gambling is legal in a lot of states, if not all of them.
Well,
I know there's a few that are holding out. So that's a whole big story within itself, and that's going to sit inside of a courtroom, guaranteed.
Sure, and that was going to be the other thing I was going to mention is, you don't even really have to go through Vegas anymore, depending
Yep.
on what team it is. I mean, all that stuff could be in-house within the state, all that stuff going on, places that have uh, you know,
Hell, you
whether
can do
it's
it online in a lot of places now.
absolutely, like, depending on where you are, the app, DraftKings, the
Yes,
site
DraftKings.
DraftKings,
Yeah,
DraftKings has become huge, and depending on what state you live in, because it'll detect where you are on your phone.
absolutely. Yes,
And so if you're in a state that gambling is legalized, I mean, you could do it right there in the palm of your hand. You don't have to go to Vegas no more, Sonny.
yep,
So while Vegas is the cornerstone of the gambling world at least in the United States, uh, it's you can do it depending on where you are. You have it right there in the palm of your hand.
absolutely. But then again, we've done live shows from Vegas many years ago. There ain't nothing like being in Vegas, baby. You
Sure.
you take the atmosphere out of that. You don't get that atmosphere when you're playing on an app on the phone going, well, I think I'll put a bet down on the Bears. There's always something about being there in Vegas and watching on those big old screens, those 2-story, screens, and you can watch a game. It's kind of cool to see that kind of
Yeah, it's an adrenaline thing. It's an atmosphere thing. Hell, I mean, the wife and I, as a matter of fact, we were looking it up last night. In 2 years, in 2 years, in 2024, the Super Bowl is going to be in Vegas. We're already talking about going.
Yeah. Well, good
because
luck with
because
that
it's
because tickets are going for $35,000. I mean, you know what you need is you need a big payday, baby, in order to hit that. But then again, it's the atmosphere. Then it is. I've been to a Super Bowl 30, where the Cowboys played the Pittsburgh Steelers in Tempe, Arizona. I was at literally the last seat on the top, but I was there. I could say I was theirs. And same thing with WrestleMania. I didn't necessarily but I could say I was there in the atmosphere of that whole thing and the whole spectacle. Sometimes forget about the game. It's the atmosphere that you're digging and you're enjoying, obviously. Depending on where you like to go in Vegas, I'm a downtown guy. Some people like to be up on the strip and things of that sort. So you get more bang for your buck downtown or off the strip. But, that's
sure,
the reason why
yeah.
I'm a cheap bastard. So, but that's just me. But you home?
No, I got to make a stop before I get home. I got to go to the Home Depot.
Got it.
The man's
You
candy
look.
store.
You feeling better? I know you were under the weather yesterday.
Yeah. Well, last week on Championship Sunday, I was under the weather, and
Yes, you were.
just
you powered through that. You powered through that one. But layover weekend, why not? You can let that one go.
Yeah. I was getting over it, and then it got me. It hit me again. So it's just real bad. It's not the horrific C word. All right. So
that's good. That's good because I heard that kicks ass.
Yeah, so. It's just some congestion, no fever, nothing like that. I can still taste stuff. So it wasn't.
Got a little flu working.
That.
Got a little flu working. So
no, I don't even think it was the flu, Sonny. It was just I had cold, but I'm fine now.
Yeah, it'll kick your ass and knock you down sometimes. I understand.
Yeah.
All right, my man. I don't want to keep you from Home Depot. I'm glad you were able to get up on. When he said that he could come on, I wanted him on yesterday. And I didn't put that out there. So he said, "Yeah, Monday sounds great." And I'm like, "Well, okay. Looks like we're up there doing a show. Let's just knock it out."
Hey, when Tom McManus says he could be on, and
man,
whenever he could be on, we got to do it.
What a relationship we got with that guy. He wants me to go on his show. And Jack, I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about, but we also got to check out the Relevant app. I can actually do it because with the way that I got everything set up here, we can actually probably get on the Relevant app and still do the show because it's hard to do Blog Talk Radio. We pretty much have, not even really mess with Blog Talk Radio, but he's on the Relevant app. I'm going to check that out. He's going to give me some instruction, and we're going to join his little group of shows, and that's kind of cool too. And then we can maybe bring on some other guests like Jimmy Smith, like Tony Baselli, some Jacksonville Jaguar names, baby, right there.
Yeah, but so Sonny, but did Baselli make it to the final cut?
He did not.
I don't understand why.
Yeah, we were talking about that. You can jump in and see what we talked about, because I did ask him about that. And I, if it wasn't for the fact, I had the Jaguar jersey, I would have worn my Tony Baselli Houston Texans jersey that I got. I don't have very many jerseys, but I got 2 Jaguars, old school Jaguars, because they got the cool logos and stuff. And it's the logos he played under, by the way, when he played for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Kind of cool there. So.
Was he on the expansion team?
Yes,
he was.
The
first year?
Yes, the expansion team with Tom Coughlin, and he was my favorite player, because the dude had no speed, but you would not know that if you watched it, and that's the reason why I found McManus, because he was my favorite Jaguar. At one time, I had a Jaguar jersey with his name on it. That's long gone. I don't know where the hell that is. That might be my next purchase, by the way, a McManus jersey. But what he gained and how they played the game, they made the game go around him, because the speed wasn't as, these guys are lightning now. He wasn't lightning. He's a big, bulky Boston College dude, at the line, and just he's lucky that Tom Coughlin loved him, because he was just. And the funny thing about the horse's mouth, he kind of acts like a bartender talking to guys. That's where he was when Tom Coughlin called him. He was tending bar at a local bar in Chicago, Illinois, by the way, just to let you know, right there.
Okay.
So he's familiar, with your area up there. So. But, cool stuff. Oh, God, I get so jazzed. I could do a 5-hour show just having Tom McManus on for an hour. I could do 4 or 5 more hours if we had enough stuff. That's what he does. He gets the blood pumping on me. So,
okay.
But I'm gonna let you go, and we'll call this one off so you can TCB, and so your old lady won't say, God, that's Sonny Clark. Go ahead.
I got one more thing. We got to hit the Ted Koppel button, Sonny.
Oh, wait. We have breaking news? I thought we had the breaking news when we first went on the show. I mean, with the situation with Kyler Murray. But okay, wait a second. Where'd it go? It's on here. I used it there it is, right there. Bang. A little break. Breaking news coming from the bearded man we don't recognize. That's Cuervo. What you got? Did I lose him? Oh, come on. Unfreeze, baby. Unfreeze. It's trying to catch up. It's trying to catch up. Oh, I can't leave until I get them. I can't leave until I get the news. You're froze. You're froze. Are you messing with yeah. Oh, we got to get him back, and we're not going anywhere. I don't know what the breaking news is, and the fact he leaves us.
What?
I know. What? You tell me, Bryce. I mean, no Cuervo?
What?
Oh, wait, there he is. He's back. All right, so let's bring him back in. Even Bryce was wondering where the hell you went. What the hell? Uh-oh. You froze? There we go. So what's the breaking news that you got for me?
What the heck?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Do I sound okay?
Yep, I got you now. Go ahead. What's the breaking news?
Okay, you sound really weird, so I'm just going to say what I got to say. All right. So obviously you guys know that Lovie Smith did get the job in Houston.
Yep.
All right. But here's the breaking news. The final head coaching spot has been filled.
Whoa.
The New Orleans Saints are promoting defensive coordinator Dennis Allen.
I heard that. Those were some rumors that were flying around. So interestingly enough, that I like it. I like it. I would have liked to see Brian Flores, by the way. That would have been who I'd pick. But yeah, I like the Dennis Allen pickup there.
I didn't understand anything, Sonny, but Sounds good.
Okay. All right, I'll talk at you later. Adios, amigos. I love you. We'll talk to
All
you
right,
soon.
Sonny,
Okay?
take care.
You got it. So he is
We'll talk more
Cuervo.
Sunday.
But yes, 3-hour extravaganza from Arizona, baby. So there we go. Oh, so all right, we're out of here. I hope you have a good one. Good to see you, my friend. The beard. I gotta come up with a new nickname for him now. No, maybe Cuervo still is. So, by the way, great show. And I could go on for an hour and a half by myself, but I don't want to hear myself talk. I need the other side. I need me some Cuervo. I need me some other guys. So that's going to do it for us here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. As we are here, as always, we'll check you next time. Again, Sunday, 3-hour extravaganza. We're out of here. Bye.